Monday. Want to update you on a few things. Obviously, we'll start with with our network security incident, and then I've got a few other things to get through. Understand first and foremost, we're really operating along two kind of dual paths. One is there's an investigation happening where I know there's a lot of questions about, and again, we are not necessarily the ones that have those answers, but then we also have a restoration aspect. So those are the two pathways that we're working simultaneously, one being an investigation, one being how do we get back to where we need to be. So we operate along those paths. Our IT team has been doing an amazing job, and we continue to hear from outside agencies and vendors that we're working with right now how encouraged they are about where we are and how we've responded in our emergency plan. Just as an example, something that wasn't as robust in 2019 was we have a strict priority order of 15 different things that need to be restored and stood up, and they go in that order in terms of importance for the vital things being higher on the list. We're through of those 15, we've got 5 up that are fully operational, another 7 that are operational in some aspect that are progressing nicely, and maybe it might be that part of it's operational, part of it isn't, and then we have another 3 to get to at the bottom of the list, just as an example. That's how clear the operation, our COOP plan, our emergency plan has been, and again, I give a lot of credit to Chief Grainer, Chief Randall, Kareth, our administrators, and of course our IT staff for continuing to work diligently on this, and as we continue to make progress. Obviously, I would love for this to move as quickly as possible and to have as many answers as possible. I'm no different in my chair than every citizen wanting to know as much about it as possible, but these things just take time. These investigations take time. That's not something we're going to have clear answers on tomorrow, and so we have to respect that process again and continue to do the best that we can in terms of some of those features for citizens that remain up and fully operational. Our phone system is up, 311 is up, our emails are up. So from an interaction standpoint, what you really should only still be seeing on the citizen side of things, that maybe the most common would be the bill pay continues, to not be operational at this point for Pensacola Energy Sanitation. I reiterate that we will be using those any late fees, any of those types of things that would normally take place. Of course, we are going to handle and make sure that that we're doing right by the customer. That those inconveniences are not their issue. Obviously, this is something that has happened here. So we maintain that. Obviously, on the investigative side of things, that continues to do the proper authorities continue to work through that. We can confirm it's a ransomware incident now. Much more than that, we're really not able to confirm because, again, there's other agencies and it's an active investigation, just like you guys report on all the time in more conventional matters. Again, I won't be able to give you a whole lot of more detail other than that we can confirm that. So obviously, you feel free to ask what you like. Just understand there's our number one focus is those two things: is an investigation going in and to be restored. And what comes third on that is letting information cause any deterrent of being operational, or certainly on the investigation side. So that's what we have to be mindful of. Outside of that, again, I'll take your questions on that.
Who's leading the investigation?
As I can tell you, it runs through Chief Randall, but other agencies and who's part of what, I would leave and defer to him to tell you, who's operating that day to day. But
do we know if this is any similar to the attack in St. Cloud?
the
press release looked very similar to y'all's.
I don't know. I don't know what's in terms of that. I haven't looked into that, and frankly, don't have enough information to me to be able to compare or the expertise to do so. As I said, our Chief Craner is our head of emergency operations, but Chief Randall is, of course, leading the investigative portion of what we just discussed. I would suspect our goal, next week is to be able to provide some additional information on the investigation side of things. I think we may have some more information to report then.
What do we tell citizens that are concerned if any of their personal data has been released?
Yeah, obviously, again, it's we have an active investigation right now. Obviously, we do have protocols that are in place for when things like that happen, and there's different thresholds that come with that. So we're monitoring that. We continue to prepare for any option, but these investigations take time. And
you would assume that it would be. The assumption would be that no personal data has been really hurt, or y'all would be notifying citizens pretty quickly because it could be damaging to them.
Well, and look, understand what's true to us today, it may not be true to us tomorrow, and so that's that's why what we're saying is the bottom line. We're going to prepare for any option. There's an option where that has happened. There's an option where it has not happened. There's protocols in place on many different layers of this, both on the criminal investigation side, on the insurance side, things like that, that have some guidelines and outlines as it pertains to what would meet that definition. So bottom line is it's an active investigation. That's not something that I'm part of, nor have the expertise to say. But what I can tell you is we continue to prepare for every possible scenario.
Mayor, you said that these things are going to take some time, and we just need to be a little bit patient. As we were walking in today, there was a woman who just kind of talked about the inconvenience of having to come here to pay your bill. How long, if you could say, will our residents have to keep doing this? Yeah,
I'd love to. If I could give you an answer and say it'll be X hours or X days, of course we would absolutely do that. But we've got our goal is to make sure that everything is restored properly, that we're not rushing into something that then causes a setback that makes it even worse. So that can take time and that can be painstaking. I sympathize with everybody out there having to deal with that. I pay my bills the same way online that people have been inconvenienced themselves. So I totally understand that. And all I can tell our citizens right now is, of course, we want this to happen as quickly as possible, and we're doing everything that we can. It is not from a lack of effort or a lack of manpower to be able to do that, but we just have to continue to follow our protocol and procedures, and that's what we'll do. So the second that we have a timeline clearly on that we'll be providing that as soon as possible during one of our updates throughout the week.
And since the hack, police have had some difficulties with pulling up car screens. Is this affecting the police force in any way?
Not that I've been made aware of. I can't speak to that. That would probably be a PPD question. You'd have to ask them. I have not been made aware of that personally. So I'd refer you to Mike or Chief Randall on that. All right. A few other updates. We got the request for letters of intent both at 2305 West Cervantes, the old Pensacola Motor Lodge. We received 2 letters of interest there, and then we received 4 letters of interest at 101 West Main Street, which is the former Pensacola Sports location. So very encouraged by that, encouraged by some thought that's been put into those. And I think our next step at this point is to continue to ask some questions, meet with those folks, and continue to vet that out as we move forward. So no set timeline on an RFP, or will we RFP or not. Will we negotiate with one particular person? Those decisions haven't been made. I'm just reporting, now that those deadlines have passed, that is what we received. And so the CRA continues to go through those and look at what our options are from there. But the good news is multiple letters of interest on both of those sites, and so we are encouraged by that. So good news there. We are aware there's one of the fountains at Maritime Park had stopped working. It's covered under warranty. It's been sent out for repair. It should be returned in 6 to 8 weeks. We are closed tomorrow. City administrative offices, City Hall, Osceola Golf Course, and Roger Scott Tennis Center, as usual, are open, and city sanitation will run as normal. So there won't be a change there. So if you're a Tuesday, Friday house, you still will see city sanitation. And then starting Monday, speaking of sanitation, they're going to start. Our customers will start seeing QR codes on their trash cans. We're getting those out. That will be able to provide access to the website, where additional services, for example, like a bulk pickup, those types of things, as you can imagine, between energy and sanitation, we interact with our citizens a lot in both of those places. So we're trying to make that easier, that if you have a question or a concern, or you don't know how to go find the number or the website or anything like that, now you know, as we said, now your trash can will speak to you. So you'll be able to go get those answers. So you'll start to see, it will take some time to roll out. It will not be at 20,000 plus garbage cans on Monday, I want to be clear, but you'll start to see those rolling out. And we expect somewhere in the May 31, June 1 area to have all of them rolled out. So it will take a couple months, as you can imagine, to get all those out to everybody. Lastly, just it's I guess slightly an update. We have heard we don't have a final date yet, but we are encouraged by we've heard from FDOT as their term, getting to the final stages of getting the lights on the Pensacola Bay Bridge. So there's tangible progress, at least. Remember, the last update was that the Coast Guard and FDOT were going back and forth on some issues. So I do get that question out on the street a lot. Mayor, when are you going to turn on those lights? I was like, well, it's not that easy, but I am encouraged by that, and certainly we're going to continue to work with FDOT on what they need. So some tangible progress there, although it's not. We don't have a final date. The second that we do, which hopefully will be in the near future, we will get that to you. But with that, happy to take whatever questions you have.
With the addition of Reeves Airways coming to the Pensacola
Yes.
Airport, is there any concern with capacity at the gates? I know for a long while we've been talking about terminal expansion. Is there ever going to be a situation where there's too many planes and not enough terminals?
Yeah, so our airport staff, in terms of number of lines of service, airplanes coming in, I have full confidence in terms of that capacity there. What we know at the airport is our airport, many of the facets of our airport are built for 1.3 million passengers, and we just had 2.75 million passengers. And so that's a generational reality that we're in. I remind people, where I hear a lot of issues that our citizens are having is in parking, of course, and I remind that before the holiday season, we'll be at the parking that our strategic plan called for in 2035, and that's how much parking we'll have available at the city. I know that doesn't make it any less or any more convenient, for the citizen to tell them that, but it's just the reality of such rapid growth, double-digit year-over-year growth that was certainly not suspected, not even a decade ago. So. We continue to try to make any accommodations that we can. I know there's frustration with some long lines. I believe we had our two largest days ever, if I remember correct, Saturday, were 11,000 throughputs, 11,000 a day. And so I remember when 5,000 and 6,000 was our largest day. So we had 11,000. I've had some frustration with TSA a little bit on, obviously TSA controls I get that question sometimes too, Mayor, why are the lines long? Those are not Pensacola airport employees. And when equipment goes down or staffing in that area, we don't have a whole lot of control in that. And so, as you can imagine, that can be frustrating, for us to have to take the brunt of that and to frustrate our passengers using our airport. So we continue to try to work with TSA best we can and lean on them and to make sure that as much of their resources are available because, again, we're bursting at the seams. That's a good thing, but we understand that comes with inconveniences, and it's why we're working so hard to get the $90 million that we probably will need to build that terminal expansion and get those 5 new gates. But to your question, no, adding Breeze, we certainly have a plan and a strategy around being able to accommodate any future carriers or increase. I think what you'll see this summer, we're expecting an increase even with some of our existing carriers. Maybe they're flying to a destination more often in a week than they were in the previous years. So we're actually expecting some of that as well. So that's, again, good for our passengers, good for our customers, that they'll have more options.
Yeah, that was another thing that I was going to ask you. Is there any update to the terminal expansion project? Are we still on par for breaking ground of 2025?
We'll see. Obviously, it's a heavy lift. On the federal side, we weren't awarded any of the funding in the terminal in the standard FAA terminal grant program. We have $5 million right now in the budget, waiting on Governor DeSantis' signature. Obviously, we plan on bonding some of that funding as well. So no, we're not where we need to be yet. But that's also why we started when we started. I mean, when I got into this position, we didn't even have the $2 million for the design yet, and so we were able to procure that. Design is underway. And why we jumped immediately to funding. We don't want to wait for a design and have it collect dust while we wait on funding. So we're being very proactive in this, and actually sometimes that can be a deterrent of getting some of those funds. Is that you're not far enough along. Where you don't have a design fully in hand, that they say, hey, come back next year or come back in 6 months, that kind of thing. But that's okay. I'd rather be asking early and be too early than to be too late and wait another year or two. So nothing concrete that we could commit to. It'll be done on X date. But we feel we continue to push really hard for that. It is our number one priority, I would say, in terms of a big capital funding ask, both at the federal and at the state level.
Portland News was having any kind of date yet? I hate to be the guy to always ask about the
yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Well, yeah, they are.
Brandon wants to know.
I hear you. They are. You can tell him that they're wrapped and on site. I mean, they're in the city. I know we continue to push forward, trying to get a final date. I'm a little hesitant until we get it confirmed today to give it to you for getting the playground area at Bruce Beach open. We're kind of shooting hopefully somewhere in the end of April area. But what will determine that is I want that playground to be open with a Portland Lou there. If it was a matter about opening it, we could do it sooner. But we've got our guys out there working on the pad, getting that. I believe that's been permitted, or the pad at Bruce Beach. I got permitted today, so they'll be able to go ahead and do that work, get the bathroom put in. And my hope is sometime near the end of April, we'll get you an exact date once we have it, but we'd be able to at least open that phase 1, that playground portion of the park, while they continue to work on the second phase of the park. And so our citizens get to enjoy for late spring through the summer and not wait until October or November to use the whole thing. So it really, to your question, we're thinking we'll have at least one of those put in at some point in April, because that's the tipping point to open Bruce Beach. But our conversations continue to go well with UWF, MLK, skate park, UWF, and Bruce Beach would be those first. But we're diligently moving on this. Yeah, MLK, yeah. And it kind of, we're proposing kind of the Palafox and Gregory area of, in terms of DIP.
Last week, Escambia County Commissioners were asked for $2 million for the Baptist
Yes.
property project. And they were asking that if that project costs more than anticipated, who covers the difference? Will it be the city, or will you guys be asking for more money from your partners?
Yeah, a lot of that would be speculative until we see how much is more than, right? I mean, are we talking about a couple $1 million, or would it be significantly higher, what that mix is? But I agree with them philosophically in that I believe the $2 million put up by the county, and I appreciate their support in that pledge, the same pledge that the $1 million that the city made, that $3 million and Baptist $3 million, I believe should be congruent. Meaning, if there's, let's use the inverse, if it comes in under, I believe that it should be equitable at worst between city and county funding and Baptist funding, meaning that Baptist funding should not be the last funding out, or first funding out. That the citizens should be part of that too. So I think that's what they were kind of hinting at, is to say, hey, well, if it's over, we may not want to put any more. We agree with that. But until we know the number, their pledge and my appreciation for that allows us to get to the next phase, which is to really refine where these numbers are. Is it 16? Is it 12? Is it 18? This is the best guess we have right now, and there is some science to it. It wasn't merely a guess. I mean, there's some education behind it, but until we, I've told the citizens during our District 7 town hall that our next phase, and we feel good enough right now, is to bring on an owner's rep for demo and abatement for the city. That would be brought on at a very minor level, not a lot of expense or anything like that, until we pass July 1st. Once the budget is signed and we know that $7 million is coming, then we'll ramp up that owner's rep into doing even more diligence on the building, the structures, what can be saved, what can not be saved. We don't want to spend a lot of taxpayer money pre-budget, but we want to go ahead and get them on, and so we're doing as much work as we can. Maybe we start looking at what an RFP would look like for demo. So we'll take some baby steps, from probably what we hope in April, May, and June while we wait on the budget. And then we hopefully all that infrastructure would kind of be in place for us to really ramp it up in July once we have the $7 million. So just too early to say who would pay for what, because we don't know what the number is yet. But I am very appreciative of the county commissioners, that understanding the same value we do, which is, we can say who should be doing what. At the end of the day, what we want is vibrancy for our community. We want opportunity for housing for our community, and that should transcend any of the finger pointing about who's responsible for what at this point. It's just too early to say. So I appreciate their support in this, and appreciate the city council's support in this, and hopefully we'll get a lot of good news here in the next several months.
Have you heard any more from Baptist regarding a healthcare facility in that same community where the old Baptist facility is located?
Not at this point. We're not. We're again too early to say what kind of facilities would go there, how many units are they going to be. All those types of things are just too early to work out. Baptist has committed at this point into putting one function at Fricker Center, which would be health related as part of a senior center that we're putting there. They have at this point committed to doing that. That was part of our application to get an additional $4 million. That brings us to almost $10 million for Fricker Center, which would be is the largest renovation budget for a community center in the history of the city. And so they have committed at this point to be part of that. Again, how often, what hours, all those types of what services, still lots of work to do there. But as far as what will they do on the old legacy campus, too early to say. We're focused on what's the price tag on demo, abatement, and seeing what we have in front of us there.
My last question,
No,
how often
great.
are you in conversations with those commissioners to kind of address their concerns and make sure we're all on the same page?
I think with any issue that affects city and county, I mean, one's going to be homelessness. I mean, we've got new legislation that the city and county are going to have responsibility in, and so we coordinate accordingly. And so when a commissioner may call and ask me some questions and have concerns, and I'm happy to take those calls. And I think that's, even though they're their own government and we're ours, for our community to shine, we've really got to do the best we can in terms of communicating with each other. So I've got good open communication with all four commissioners right now, and they know how to get a hold of me, and I always pick up their call and want to work with them any way that we can collaborate on things. We always try to do that, and so I'm encouraged that they're willing to do that, and so I'm always appreciative for that. Anything else? All right. Thank you, guys.